Okay, this is the first in a series of tutorials using Google Docs to do various things for mostly writing lab reports, but just getting neat, presentable publications. So if you don't have a Google account, you need to get one, and then you can sign into it, Google Docs, and then we'll need to create a new spreadsheet to start with for putting in data. And when you open a new spreadsheet in Google, it automatically has the top row as a frozen set of column headings so that when you scroll down you can always see it like that. You can leave that like that if you want or not. That's up to you, but you can fix that under Tools here by going to Freeze Rows and having no frozen rows to get rid of that if you want to. What we want to do is leave the top row for the table caption to start with. And you'll notice here we've got an unsaved spreadsheet. We should start auto-saving it so we don't lose our work. We just give it a name. Sample will do for now. Click OK. Alright. So when we're setting up our data table, our independent variable goes in the first column. It's distance, x, and the units are meters. It's always the name, the variable symbol that will be used in equations, and the units. And then time is the other one. And let's just suppose that I did a little experiment. I had a ball rolling down a ramp. It traveled 10 centimeters, 20 centimeters, and 30 centimeters. And each time I ran the experiment, I collected, for each setting of the distance, I ran the experiment several times to get an idea for the precision of my times. So maybe it was 0.111 seconds, 0.114, 0.116. I'm making up numbers right now. You would have measured these numbers. For 2 seconds, maybe it was 0.253, 0.256, and 0.251. And then for the 0.3 meters, it might have been 0.310, 0.315, 0.309, for example. These columns are a little wide. They're spreading off this page right now. I can just double click up at the top corner like that to narrow them down so that I can see everything in this little window that I'm using. Okay. The next thing I want to work out is the variation in my different measurements here. So I'm going to calculate what we call the percent error in the time, t. And that would just be the minimum subtracted from the maximum divided by the minimum, and then times 100 for percent. So an equal sign tells us that there's a formula coming, and we can see the whole formula up here. So it's going to be 100 times, and if I open parentheses, I'm going to have the maximum, and then I want the maximum of these three numbers, so I would just click and drag to select them. Close parentheses. I want to take away the minimum. Again, and then that whole difference, maximum minus minimum, I want to divide by the minimum, and again of the same range of numbers. And that's going to give me a number in there. Now to perform the same calculation on the next two rows of data, rather than typing all that out again, I can just get my little crosshair down in the bottom right hand corner there, click and drag, and it'll repeat the calculation for the other two columns. And then finally, the value I'm actually going to use on my graphs and in my calculations is that average time. So I need another column for the average time, again in seconds, and again here I'm going to type in a formula. It's just the average of the three times that I collected. And I hit return. It calculates the average for me, and again selecting the bottom right hand corner there and dragging down, I can repeat the calculation for the other cells. And now we've got all our data in. The next thing we're going to have to do is tidy it up and format the table a little more neatly than it is now, and that's the subject of the next tutorial.